Hey, I know you've been eating really healthy food lately. You know, raw, fresh, organic, living fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. But to be honest, I'm worried about you. I'm worried that you're not getting enough protein. Oh my gosh, guys. If you are in this boat where either you are living the raw food lifestyle, eating your raw foods, and everybody who knows about it is asking, oh, are you getting enough protein? Or maybe you're a person who's considering this lifestyle, but you're genuinely concerned that raw food is not going to give you enough protein. Well, in today's video, I'm going to clear this up once and for all today because I'm sure tomorrow somebody's going to ask me about this. So, are you ready? Let's go! What's up, guys? Blake here. Welcome back. I'm sure you're not worried about me not getting enough protein because, I'm not wasting away. I look pretty decent. I have a lot of muscle on my body. I just weighed myself this morning. I weigh 197 pounds. And I've been all raw for 6 months, and I'm currently on day 2 of a juice fast. This topic of getting enough protein, it transcends just the raw vegan diet. You might have heard of complete protein, and that issue being applied to the vegan diet, where they don't eat any animal products, but they're still consuming cooked foods. And to get a complete protein, they tell you to mix grains with legumes. And that's about one of the least healthy things that you could do for your digestive tract, because you're going to create a sticky, gluey matter that is going to adhere to your intestines and give you all sorts of problems immediately, but also compounding over time. What is meant by a complete protein? A complete protein is just a protein that has all of the essential amino acids. There are 9 essential amino acids, and I can't name them off the top of my head. You can quickly ask ChatGPT or Google about it. But there's 22 amino acids in total. Okay, so there is validity to the point that you want to switch up your amino acid profile, so you're having variants of all the different amino acids, because all the different amino acids have different functions in the body. Okay, and if you don't remember from your science class as a middle schooler, yes, amino acids are the building blocks of protein. So I'm a raw vegan. That's not my favorite word for it, but just for the sake of this conversation, I'm a raw vegan. I don't eat any animal products. I don't eat any cooked foods. So grains and beans, like, rice and beans, a staple of a traditional vegan diet, that's completely out of that's completely out of play. So how do I get my protein? Well, the answer is it's a little different than you might expect. I'm actually not too concerned about getting enough protein. What I am concerned with is feeding my body a variety of foods that are going to give me a different amino acid profile. Okay? Raw vegetables, raw fruits, and to a higher degree, nuts and seeds have a diverse amino acid profile to them, but they might not be as high in protein as your cooked grains and legumes, and especially not as high in protein as animal products. Okay? When you cook protein, you're denaturing its value by about half. So if you think of a chicken breast that has 20 grams of protein in a piece of chicken breast, you cook it, your body's only going to be able to use about 10 grams of that protein. All right. Furthermore, when you're taking in animal products and let's say you eat a steak, and this is from my own experience. Let's say in the past when I would eat a steak, this is a long time ago because I haven't really had red meat, even though I'm more recently vegan, but I tapered down to chicken and eggs and fish a long, long time ago. But I remember when I would have a steak, I would just feel kind of this like surge of energy. And I remember telling my parents when I was a kid eating steak, like, oh man, I feel like I could run a marathon right now. Okay, that's not the protein. That's stimulation, and that might be coming from a source that you might not be so comfortable to take into account. You see, when animals are about to be ready to be used for food, and of course, they need to experience death before, we're going to go ahead and put them in the food market or eat them. They know that they're approaching their final breath, their final hour. Sorry to laugh at that. I guess it's just more so a nervous laugh because I think it's horrendous. And I didn't come into this lifestyle with the objective of I'm doing this to save the animals. But now that I'm doing it, as somebody who was an avid fisherman and would catch and eat fish, I have no desire to even really go fishing anymore, and that's pretty odd coming from me. This lifestyle changes you; it changes your vibration, and so when the animal knows it's going to die, it starts releasing adrenaline, and the fear and the norepinephrine are in the flesh that you're eating, guys. So if you feel good after eating a lot of protein, then it could be the stimulation from other chemicals, not just the fear of death, but also the hormones that are pumped in there, the chemicals. When you cook it, it's going to lose half of its protein. All right. And here's the big one. Here's the big one. And I want to make this super simple and super easy to understand. You can put all that other stuff off to the side. It might be kind of like a little woo for some people to really talk about. But Blake, okay, that's all theoretical. In my experience, it's true, but you need to, like Morpheus says, no one can be told. You need to figure it out for yourself. Okay, but this one is pretty easy to figure out for everybody and to understand logically. That you have a protein and then you have amino acids, which are the building blocks of protein. Okay. Most of the food that we eat that is higher in protein, like animal products, they're getting their protein sources from plants. Okay. Cows, pigs. All right. And then their body assimilates those proteins that are in the plants, which are really not proteins, that's right, amino acids. And then their body constructs those amino acids together into proteins. Okay, and proteins it creates structure in your body, it creates mass and density. It's the building blocks of your body. Okay, so when we're eating full proteins, in order for us to even use that protein, we need to break it down back into amino acids. So let me ask you guys, do you think it's more efficient to just eat amino acids straight up, or is it more efficient to eat proteins and then have to rely on our body's digestive process and digestive enzymes to then break it down into amino acids so then we can utilize it to build our body back up? Okay, obviously, clearly, it's easier to eat amino acids, vegetables, lettuce, um, fruits, and then yes, nuts and seeds especially. Tons and tons and tons of amino acids. All right, readily available for you to use. Okay, what I've noticed after switching over to this lifestyle is that I can tell the difference between the stimulation that I'm getting from eating excessive protein versus the nourishment that I'm getting from the amino acids in my food. It's easier on my digestion. I feel lighter. My performance, cardio wise, is much, much better. My mental performance, my mental clarity, much, much better. I will be entirely honest. My top end, just brute force strength, like bench pressing or squatting, it's gone down just a little bit. Okay. And you guys might be like, okay, he admitted it. He admitted it. You guys, what I'm trying to tell you is that's the stimulation. When you take that food away, then how do you stimulate yourself? Okay. What that food is doing is it's dampening your adrenal glands on top of your kidneys. So you guys have probably all heard about adrenal fatigue, and drinking coffee causes adrenal fatigue. Stress, lack of sleep is going to cause adrenal fatigue. Well, so is eating a bunch of protein, and especially a bunch of animal protein. Okay, when you take that out of your diet, there's going to be an adjustment period where your adrenal glands have to get back in action, right? Okay, so that's where I'm at in my journey right now, and I'm working on improving that. Let's go back to the beginning of this video before I conclude. That everybody's asking the raw vegans, how do you get enough protein? How do you get enough protein? How do you get enough protein? That just shows how trained they are to believe the teachings that they have been taught, and how those teachings that they're just hard on believing are perhaps not the most valid or the most conducive to one's overall health. All right. So that is something very important to consider. The last thing that I wanted to talk about when it comes to protein is let's just make this super, super simple for 1 second. We already know that we have proteins, and then the building blocks of proteins are called, that's right, amino acids. Okay. Let's break down that word into two words. You have amino, all right? And then you have, acids, okay? Now let's look at fat. You got a fat molecule? What is a fat molecule made of? Acids, okay? Okay, well that's two of the three macros. You know, we all know that we need to hit our macros, right? What's the other macro? Carbohydrates. What do carbohydrates break down into? Carbo stands for carbon, and hydrates stand for what? Hydrogen. Okay? A carbohydrate is carbon and water, basically. Okay? So fat and protein are the two acidic macros. Carbs are the alkaline macro. All right? So excessive protein and excessive fat, which, by the way, don't get me wrong, I will slam down some avocados and some coconut meat and get my fat, and some nuts, get my fat and my protein. I will make some green juices that are just loaded with protein. And when I'm saying protein, I'm talking mostly amino acids, right? Because I like to work out. I like to, get my reps in. And the body does need to repair itself. Okay? But I'm at my age, at 39, and somebody who can feel the trajectory that this lifestyle gives you, it's remarkable. It's incredible. I know that if I can find a balance with it now, that I'll be still performing at this level. I might not be performing at like, super, super high levels as I approach my 50s, 60s, 70s, but I can maintain this long term and then not have any of the negative side effects of blasting protein and blasting fats to keep my hormones up and to keep my body repairing. Okay, I can find a homeostasis with everything. Okay, because acids, what's the opposite of that? Is alkaline. Okay, we want our body to stay as alkaline as possible. All right, that's going to keep your body from, basically, a good visual tool to think about this is if you see a pond that has a bunch of pond scum on it, all right, and then you see a similar pond, no pond scum on it, and it's got like a fountain that keeps aerating it and keeps it from festering, all right? That would be your alkaline pond right there. You want to keep your body as alkaline as possible, and so blasting a bunch of protein is going to add acidity to your body. It's going to stress out your adrenal glands, okay? Especially the animal products, all right? It's going to create a digestive burden on not just your digestive tract, but also your pancreas, which is producing the enzymes that need to break down the protein back into the amino acids from whence they came, okay? So yes, please, thank you. I will get my protein in the form of beautiful bioavailable amino acids from fresh, raw food. So you guys, thank you so much for checking out this video. I hope that clears up some queries for you when it comes to getting enough protein on the raw vegan lifestyle. I will definitely share more videos about this and my little tips and tricks for making sure that I do feel nourished in my body with enough protein, just to appease the people who are going to be sticklers even after watching this. If you guys like this content, please go ahead and punch the like button below, subscribe, and I have a freebie down below. Just click the link to grab it. It is my grocery list that is completely well thought out, tried, tested, and true, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. And until next time, guys, thank you so much, and I will talk soon. Peace.